Puberty! Such a taboo subject. Turning Red tackles growing up with a cultural spin, focusing on an Asian immigrant family, but it also tackles a period that most of us would rather forget. Puberty. Turning Red is the 25th feature from Pixar Animation and the first directed solely by women. So it's interesting that a crew that was entirely made of women tackled the subject of puberty. May's transformation into a red panda is a very on-the-nose metaphor for puberty. Your body betrays you, and the changes that happen are completely out of your control. It's the awkward time when you're no longer a child, but not quite an adult yet. Puberty is a pretty taboo subject that's often glanced over or made into a joke in children's media.
Guys, what's puberty? It's probably not important.
It's rare to see the subject dealt with in an on-the-nose frank way in family-friendly media. Okay, so yeah, we have yet another Disney movie where the main character transforms into an animal. Ugh. But I never felt like this was a retread of previous stories. This felt original and fresh to me. The only thing that didn't feel fresh and new was that it was another animated movie about a kid with an overprotective parent and the inner struggles that both experience. But May is not a rebellious teen who wants to get out from under the thumb of her mother. In fact, quite the opposite. She loves her culture and traditions and loves hanging out with her mother. But with this being an immigrant family, we get to see something I haven't seen before, at least in a Pixar movie. A family adjusting while keeping their own culture and traditions alive, while also living in a new Western country. The movie is set in Canada in the early 2000s, so yeah, as someone who has recently moved to a new country, I can somewhat relate to this feeling. Okay, yeah, you have adult animated shows like Big Mouth showing kids navigating their way through puberty and sexual arousal, but Turning Red deals with puberty in a much more personal level and doesn't cheapen it with really disgusting visual gags. Dealing with teenage crushes and fantasies, which, though not revealed to the audience, are implied by the mother's reaction to be pretty scandalous, especially when she flips May's sketchbook vertically, implying she drew a raunchy centerfold. So often, the media that teenage girls like, or the media that's aimed toward them anyway, is automatically considered to be of poor quality. The movie is set in the early 2000s in Canada and shows 4 teenage girls into a manufactured boy band called Four Town, which, as cheesy as the band is, the music is actually an almost perfect tribute to boy bands of that era, down to the parasocial relationships teenagers form with the band members. When Turning Red was announced and the trailer was released, it got some unfair ridicule in my opinion, referring to the character designs as the CalArts Bean Mouth. It caused a blanket dismissal before the movie was even released, and to me, though I can see why people made that comparison, the so-called Bean Mouth is not even a thing in this movie. I mean, the same thing happened to Luca. If anything though, this movie has a Hayao Miyazaki vibe, with the mouse having a very My Neighbor Totoro kind of look. The movie is very distinct and unique to me in this regard because it combines both Japanese anime and manga with American animation together. My personal favourite anime is Fruits Basket, and I saw very clear nods to this anime in May's transformation, which was a simple proof of smoke, which is what happens in the Fruits Basket anime. This movie is pretty much what I think a Studio Ghibli movie would and should look like in CGI. It's full of cinematography that is clearly anime inspired. The expressions are exaggerated, the eyes get big and twinkle, the lighting and the characters' movement is a clear nod to anime. Those mouth shapes scream Studio Ghibli to me. I mean, the red panda design is basically Totoro, right? So I don't know why people just saw these designs and automatically went, Bean Mouth, ah! Turning Red is a movie that will redefine what universal stories look like as well as who gets to tell them. Different ethnicities, different backgrounds, culture, and ages. Give this movie a watch, guys. I'm Mad Munchkin. Stay creative.